Thank you all for being here. Good morning. Curiosity is kind of the secret sauce for creativity. It enables us to put our ego aside and ask why, and to approach problems and projects with a beginner's mind. Given that it's our 4-year anniversary today, I'm especially excited to invite Ashara Ekundayo because she's been such a big supporter of ours from the very beginning. A ton of our events have been hosted at Impact Hub, which she co-founded. But Ashara is not only an advocate of arts and culture here in Oakland, but across the world. Ashara is a serial entrepreneur, a curator, and a culture strategist. So please help me give a really warm welcome for Ashara Ekundayo.
This is hella early for me to be up. So since we're here together, I thought we could have a little meditation together, just for a few moments, yeah? So I'm a permaculture designer. I find myself investigating how my body and the natural world are interacting from moment to moment. And as a social permaculturist, as well as someone who likes to put my hands in the dirt, I'm looking at the zone. I'm looking at our zone, 0-0. Anybody represent that? Do you have a body? So maybe drop your eyes to a low gaze, or if you feel comfortable, let your eyes close, because I got the door. I got the door. Nobody's gonna come in and bust up in here and hurt anybody. I'm not gonna have it. I got the door. And if we just drop into zone 0-0 in your heart, and that we take a breath in, and that if you could see yourself in the garden, whether that be the garden outside your front door, a garden that you love to go to at the park, the garden of the beach. That our conversation with ourselves, our inner curiosity, is this zone, 0-0. And all the things that we do and offer to ourselves and to our families and to our community is in the nourishing and the nurturing of this inner garden. Let's take a breath in together. And yet another. And on this last inhale that you're taking in now, on your exhale, try to exhale twice as long as you inhaled. And smile. So, good morning, creatives. Anybody outing themselves as a creative today? I'm really, really happy to join you over tea and coffee and birthday cake. So wonderful to be out on this brisk morning. And so I have a few minutes to just share some thoughts and offer an invitation to contemplate your meaning of life. Zone 0-0 in 20 minutes. Let's see. So my name is Ashara Ekundayo. My mother named me that, or at least as the story goes, she named me that after seeing the name in a book. Not really knowing what it meant, she thought it would engender me with a sense of wonder. I wonder where that name came from. I wonder what it means. I wonder why she gave me a name like that when no one else I knew had a name like that. I wonder what I'll be when I grow up. But often what happened was that because I was such a painfully shy child, I mean shy like I hide when people come over. Shy like when we're out at the store and she wants to introduce me to someone, I would get under her dress. I mean, shy like I'm the valedictorian of my kindergarten class and I'm supposed to give a speech and I just say, no, I'm not doing it. Walked off the stage. Yeah, shy like that. But there was this desire, I really wanted to know everything and everyone. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't pull myself through my curiosity to be able to speak. But what I want to say is that from the jump, there was this curiosity. It was being nurtured, and then eventually it was birthed in a way. So now I spend most of my hours and my days as a consultant and a curator, a curious one, being someone who inquires and acquires and expands and exhibits and reflects and critiques art, culture, social ideas, just society as a whole. That's kind of what's going on. And yes, I am the founder of a diverse array of social enterprises, because why pick one sector when you can have them all? I mean, really. So, as an example, an indoor aquaponic farm in Denver, Colorado, or a poetry set that featured writers of color in a predominantly white city. How about an African or Pan-African film festival where I traveled around the world and had the opportunity to watch movies as my job, African movies, and then to come back to my community and show them. And so 7 years ago, there were a group of us who co-founded a really beautiful project around the block from here called Impact Hub Oakland. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's a place where the deep thinkers come and the inventors and the educators, and sometimes people write code there too, What I want you to understand is that it is an absolute experiment in our personal and professional curiosity. We weren't sure what would happen, but what we did know is that we wanted to invite a place that would invite and inspire people to bring what makes them come alive. It was based on questions on whether or not we could create a business model at the intersection of social justice and social entrepreneurship in a location that had deep roots in disruption, a history of standing up, a history of social justice on every level. And so next week, I have the opportunity, and I'm really excited about it, even though I'm exhausted, to open Ashara Ekundayo Gallery, which is a new space exclusively dedicated to the amplification, the exhibition of Black women's art, a project birthed from my curiosity on whether spaces for Black women exist, where they can be, where will they be, as we struggle with space, with displacement, with losing our opportunity to hold the creative in urban centers all over the globe, in particular in Oakland, where I chose to live. Can I create yet another container for inquiry? So my identity has shaped my curiosity. My curiosity has shaped my passion, and my passion has shaped my work. So I know my mother wondered what would become of her firstborn Black girl child born in 1968 in a city called Detroit on the heels of an uprising. They called us riot babies. We, poised to be the first generation to know the books before the hoe, our Black is beautiful falling effortlessly from our mahogany-stained lips, poetry folded neatly into our beaded corn-rowed naps. We were raised ready. I woke up this way. Our lessons taught from text and tunes penned by cats named Maya, Huey, Stevie, Angela, and Shaka. We could rap about life, On my mother's bookshelf sat a first edition signed copy of a novel called Roots. The message, Sankofa, go back and fetch it. A generation where Haley rattled the chains and urged us to look to the stars for understanding our identity. So here I stand, with this story of appreciation for our ancestors and for moonlight, for cycles of joy and sacrifice. I stand here with my curiosity as blatant as ever, my identity as a curious. I'm just starting to understand the curator is a curious, and that curiosity a challenge, sometimes a problem. And also to each of you an invitation to be even more curious. As poet-writer Alice Walker reminds us, serious times require very serious dancing. We do know we must dig deeper. So she, my mother, said, in this world there are only two things that appreciate and value: land and art. If you are able, honor and acquire both. So I'm honoring this land today, stewarded by the Ohlone, stewarded by other people as well, and honoring the artistic that is our being and our breathing together. Today in this town of Oaks, I greet you as a curator, a curious one, the child who always needed to know why and why not. So while I had my life with my mother, my sister and I, we also had a relationship with my father. My father, the artist. He was then and is still a living, breathing visual artist, a maker, and a rebel. Much more like an older brother, not really a parental kind of figure, and definitely not the disciplinarian. He ate weird food. I'm serious. Smoked things and fermented things with chopsticks from people selling packages on the street. It was always surprising to me what we were going to eat. But he took me to art classes on the weekend, and studio visits and galleries and museums. And when he moved to New York City, when I was still quite young, I thought, oh, cool, yeah, another place with more art that I get to see. And I was curious. One day on one of our impromptu art walks, as we would do, I said, you know, who is it that gets to decide the art that is on the wall? And he said, oh, that's the curator. I said, The curious one says, you know, I'm really curious as to why none of my friends ever talk about going to see art. So it was really then when I decided I wanted to be one of the people who defined the narrative. And so when I grew up, I wanted to make sure that I could create spaces where my friends could enjoy the art and the discourse around the art. And what I thought at the time would be really cool is to get to know the artist. Sometimes that works, sometimes not so much. I'm just saying, but what would happen if they also remembered and knew themselves as the creator, as the artist? I dare to question what would happen. So what's the challenge in being curious? Could be problematic, but for starters, I can tell you that you could be mistaken as someone unable to focus. Anybody relate to that? It also makes you good at many, many things, sometimes all things. But the question that I struggle with, it's the question that it blows the back of my brain off. Ashara, what do you do? Because the answer is I can do anything. It's a problem. And thirdly, it feeds an addictive personality. Yeah, I see y'all. So it's like all in the name of more is better. Yes, I think I'll try all 4 of those flavors. I think I'll have them all. But why, yes, professor, I think I'll take classes in 3 different departments and then I'll change my major at the end of it. Also, people will mistake you for a superhero. They really think you have a cape or some badass, boots or some bangles or something that like keep the bad people away. They will glorify your work ethic. And you will often take on more projects than you should. Blood sacrifices are made by those of us who find keys to lock doors. But isn't it glorious? Really, isn't it glorious to be a creative who is a curious one? I don't know, but I've come to understand that what I think we really want is to understand ourselves and our stories and how we relate to each other. And so at the end of the day, we're trying to save ourselves. We're trying to know ourselves. And I say, go for it. Go for it. But how do we grow our utility for curiosity while paying full attention to our well-being? For me, it's a practice, an opportunity to step into my meditation. It's my personal Om. Would you all like to join me? Anyone here never done any Oms? Because we are here in the beautiful Bay Area and we just do that like... Let's do it. Whatever you need to do, stand up or whatever, we're gonna take a deep breath. Folks all the way up in Canada, it's probably about the same degrees outside there as it is here. Let's take a big warm breath together. You ready? So I drop into my personal Om as I select a goal for the month or the week or the day in each moment. It's, of course, a question, an inquiry that brings me back to my breath. So when you all signed up to be here this morning, was it a curiosity around a person, a collective, or an idea? How does your being here support your goal and satisfy your passion? A thought to ponder. Because I think, what does this have to do with me guaranteeing that I have clean underwear for tomorrow? That's what I think. When I find myself distracted by social media for hours and hours instead of cleaning house, or what does this conference have to do with me having the resources and the energy to liberate my people? When I find myself accepting speaking gigs in the South Bay at tech companies that really don't care about me. So here we be together, We're here together with our curious selves and our curious lives, those of us who turn over each shell, looking under the hood and going down the dark alley, but trying to avoid that sunken place. I want to invite you to hold each other's hand as we do that. My hands are really cold today, but they still work. This curiosity, I want us to consider supporting each other in getting free. That's right, touch each other. Maybe warm each other's hands up. It might be scary, but we are courageous. And you want to look. You want to look at each other. You want to see each other. There will be blood. There will be blood. But this is our opportunity. And so I thank you for your curious attention today and allowing me to just gaze upon your beauty. And then I'll send you out into this brisk morning. Enjoy. Thank you.